It was a quiet afternoon, the kind where time seems to slow down and the sound of rumbling engines fills the air. A group of bikers rode along an empty stretch of road, carefree and unaware of what was waiting ahead. Then, out of nowhere, they saw him, a small boy standing by the roadside, trembling, his eyes wide with fear. One of the bikers stopped, knelt down and asked gently, "Hey, are you okay?" The boy looked up, his lips quivering, and whispered the words that froze everyone in their tracks. "They took my sister." In that moment, the laughter stopped. The engines fell silent, and an unspoken understanding passed between the bikers. It wasn't just a child's plea, it was a cry for help that struck every heart. And right there, on that lonely road, everything changed in an instant. The moment those words escaped the boy's trembling lips, something powerful ignited within the group. None of them paused to question or plan. Their instincts took over. It wasn't about being heroes or proving a point. It was pure, human reaction. Sometimes, when life places someone in front of you who's in desperate need, your heart decides faster than your mind ever could. These bikers didn't see themselves as saviors. They simply couldn't stand still while a child's sister was missing. Without exchanging a word, they revved their engines, scanning the roads ahead, alert and determined. Every second mattered, every heartbeat counted. The A road that once echoed with carefree rides now became a path of purpose. It was a moment that reminded everyone watching that real courage isn't always planned. It happens when empathy meets action, and that's exactly what they chose. Action over hesitation. People often look at bikers and see only the leather jackets, the tattoos, the noise, and the attitude. They forget that behind every helmet is a heart that beats just like anyone else's. When those men raced to help that little boy, they shattered every stereotype that society had built around them. Their kindness didn't need fancy words or polished suits. It showed through their actions. It's easy to judge by appearances, to assume who someone is based on what they look like. But that day proved that compassion wears many faces, even ones we least expect. Those so-called rough riders showed the world that empathy and courage can exist in the most unexpected places. Because sometimes the ones who look the toughest are the ones with the softest hearts. Without wasting a second, the bikers split up, their engines roaring like thunder across the open road. Each one took a different direction, scanning every turn, every shadow, every car that looked suspicious. It wasn't a movie scene. It was real, raw determination driven by a promise to a scared little boy. They communicated through hand signals, head nods, and the unspoken bond that forms when people unite for something greater than themselves. The chase wasn't about glory. It was about doing what was right, no matter the risk. Every mile carried hope. Every moment carried urgency. They rode not just with power, but with purpose, their hearts racing faster than their bikes. It was courage in motion, a rescue fueled by humanity and heart. And that day, justice didn't wear a badge. It wore leather and rode on two wheels. Rescue fueled by humanity and heart. And that day, justice didn't wear a badge, it wore leather and rode on two wheels. When they finally found the girl, the world seemed to pause for a heartbeat. She was scared, shaken, but safe. One of the bikers gently took off his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders, while another called the police. The little boy ran forward, tears streaming down his face, and hugged his sister tightly. It was a moment that needed no words, just the quiet power of love and relief. The bikers stood nearby, their eyes reflecting both exhaustion and peace. They hadn't just rescued a child, they had given a family its life back. In that instant, every mile they rode, every risk they took, felt worth it. Because sometimes the greatest victories come not from strength or fame, but from compassion. And that day, humanity won, loud and clear. That story leaves us with a message far greater than the rescue itself. It reminds us that courage doesn't come from power, wealth, or status. It comes from heart. Those bikers didn't wait for authorities or instructions. They saw someone in need and chose to act. And that's the kind of bravery the world needs more of today. We often scroll past cries for help, assuming someone else will step in. But real change begins when we decide to move, when we refuse to look away. You don't need a motorcycle or a leather jacket to be a hero. You just need the courage to care. Because in the end, heroism isn't about speed or strength. It's about heart and humanity. So, when life presents you with a moment to help, don't hesitate. Be the one who doesn't wait a second.